Hey everybody, welcome back once again. It's your girl Jasmine. How you guys doing? I know it's been a while. It has been a while since I've made a YouTube video. So I'm going to do a lesson for you guys. I have took a break for a while to get myself together. Obviously, I've been doing Facebook videos and daily rants on Facebook. If you haven't seen any of my Facebook stuff, if you're not friends with me on Facebook, you can add me on Facebook if you like, or you can just follow me if you want to on Facebook. You don't have to add me, but you can like follow, subscribe, whatever it is to my Facebook. You can find me under Jasmine Destined for Greatness. Destined for Greatness is one word, spelled Destined for Greatness, the way you would spell it regularly. Cooper. And I have I do daily blog posts. I write a blog almost every single day. If I don't write a blog every day, I post up old blogs that I wrote on like faith or on different topics like soaring high above your past. We talk about moving forward and how to move forward and getting to the next place in your life. I stopped believing in love, which I talk about things like love and how I stopped believing in love. And basically, you know, how to start believing in love again. Life after prostitution talks about different scriptures talking about like Rahab the harlot and Hosea and Gomar. And I talk about life's great sober, come join, talking about being sober, and talk about people like the prodigal son. I talk about life, I used to be a cutter, talking about people like the demon-possessed man and how he cut himself, you know, and dealing with suicide and how suicide is not the answer, that there's other ways and how God can save you, you know, in the midst of your drowning, in the midst of whatever it is that you're going through, that you don't have to choose suicide or cutting or self-destructive behavior, stuff like, you know, because as you guys can see, I have cut marks on my arm. Well, they're wounds of the past of my old issues with cutting. So I talk about many topics. So if you guys want to add me on Facebook, you guys are more than welcome to follow me or add me on Facebook. You're more than welcome. I have nothing to hide, nothing to hold in. I tell you about my life and I let you guys in as much as I can, and I spread the word of God, you know, talking about different walks of faith. And on my journey of faith, as you guys follow me, as I follow Christ in this journey. So today I have a lesson for you guys. It's talking about how love is patient and how long you actually willing to wait on love. And so we're going to talk about a few things today, talking about Genesis 29 and how you know, Jacob loved Rachel, and he actually served 7 years for Rachel, but he actually ended up serving another 7 years for love. So he was willing to wait a very long time for love, and, you know, getting to know someone, because when you're, you know, a lot of the time in today's society, we rush into love. And so if we rush into love, we don't really take the time to get to know someone, to understand their flaws, their ups and their downs. We just rush into it. And so we don't build a relationship, you know. And so we're going to kind of talk about that today. God gave me this scripture yesterday about how love is patient. And if love is patient, then, you know, we are willing to wait on love. So, like I said, in 1 Corinthians 13, it talks about all the different things that love is. And one of the first things that it says when it talks about what love is in 1 Corinthians, it says love is patient. How long are you really willing to wait on love, and really getting the love that it is that you really want, not just a love that you're going to, you're just going into a relationship, going into something just because you're lonely. You know, a lot of times what happens is we make the mistake of rushing into things because we're lonely. We're not willing to wait on love. We're not willing to wait on God. We're not willing to wait for what it is that we really truly deserve. And for me, I know for me, I am single. You know, I'm single, and you know, it's hard, you know, but I don't want to rush into something. I take my time to build a relationship, to get to know someone. I watch before I decide that I'm going to step out. I talk to people. I get to know them before, you know, I don't just sit there and say, oh, okay, this person, you know, they have to have the qualities that I'm looking for, you know, like someone who doesn't smoke, someone, you know, who, for me, you know, no offense with people who have kids, if God blesses me with someone who has kids, that's fine. You know, depending on their circumstance or maybe what they went through, I'm willing to, you know, openly listen. But the way that I want my family, because I never had you know, like a mother, you know, around, or my father around, I want a mother. Of course, me being the mother, father, and having the one set of children in a loving, wholesome, caring, healthy relationship type of thing. I want to be able to come home and, you know, maybe the most we'll probably have, you know, arguments about is about, okay, well, the wallpaper, or, you know, okay, what kind of, no, not wallpaper, but what kind of paint, or, you know, what color blinds, you know, simple stuff, nothing too drastic. You know, I know people have their issues and their quarrels, and, you know, but I don't want anything too serious, because, like, even if you guys look at my pictures, they're all, like, music and all that stuff. I'm very down to earth, and I know that, you know, what I want is something very beautiful, and I know that I'm a wonderful woman who's willing to be the woman that a man needs by cooking and cleaning, and, you know, I work, and, you know, I'm willing to bend over backwards for a love that I really want. So if love, you know, I'm willing to be patient for love. So here we are in Genesis 29, and we're kind of going to look at Jacob and Rachel's relationship. So it says in Genesis 29, verse 16, now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the older was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. And Leah had weak eyes, but Rachel was lovely in form and beautiful. And Jacob was in love with Rachel, and said, I'll work for you 7 years in return for your younger daughter, Rachel. And Laban said, it is better that I give you to her than to some other man. Stay here with me. And so Jacob served 7 years to get Rachel, but they seemed only a few days to give him because of his love for her. So like I said earlier, how long are you really willing to be patient for love? Here was this man, his name was Jacob, and he loved Rachel. The Bible said he loved her. It wasn't, you know, you see other lessons and stories in the Bible where you'll have, like, okay, Amnon and Tamar. Amnon said that he loved his sister. He wanted his sister. He did not love his sister. What he wanted was to have sex with her. He lusted after her. Okay? So there's a difference between love and lust. They're 2 different things. You can lust after something, you know, it's out of your own selfish desire. But to really love something is 2 different things. You know, when you love something, you are going to take care of it. You're going to do the things in which it is that you're required to do to make sure that you can have this thing and nurture it and, you know, help it grow, you know. When, like, I love my ministry, okay? I love it. Yeah, I took some time off of it because I was going through some things, but I love it. I take the time for it. I've been building it. I write, I study, I do the lessons. When you love something, you nurture it, you care for it, it's yours, and it grows, it flourishes, it becomes better than it could ever be. You use it to its fullest potential, and you'll bend over backwards. I've known incidents where, I was in a relationship, and I was really in love, and I was willing to do whatever I could to try to make it work, but it just didn't work out. But I was willing to make the sacrifices. I worked 3 jobs, to move and, get my car and everything, because I was willing to make the sacrifices for love. I mean, trust me, I live in South Florida now because I was in love, and I was willing to do whatever I could for my relationship. So when you love someone, you're willing to make sacrifices. You're willing, and as you see here that it said in verse 18, and Jacob was in love with Rachel and said, I'll work for you 7 years in return for your younger daughter. But it says in verse 20, so Jacob served 7 years to get Rachel, but they seemed like only a few days to him because his love for her. Even though you make the sacrifices, sometimes the sacrifices that you make don't even matter because you love what it is that you're working for. You love what it is that you're having. So the struggle or the whatever you have to go through to be able to have what it is that you want doesn't seem so hard, because you're willing to do it because you love. And in today's society, there's not a lot of people who are willing to do that, and you have to really think to yourself, if you want love, are you willing to make the sacrifices for love? Are you willing to be patient and do what you have to do to make sure that this is a love that lasts? If you want something real, if you want something that's going to hold together and not break, and you have to think about these things, because sometimes especially with love, you have to be patient in order for it to be able to grow this, bond in which it is that you'll be having, instead of something that will only be temporary. So I'm going to put up the first few questions and we're going to carry on. All right, you guys stay tuned. Peace. How long are you willing to wait for the love that you really want? How much are you willing to sacrifice to receive that love? All right, you guys. So love is patient. Love is patient. So one of the things about being patient and, how long you're willing to wait for love is, real love is taking time to get to know and understand someone, their likes, their dislikes, their hobbies, their actions, the way they smile, what makes them smile, what makes them laugh, what kind of foods they like, getting to know them and spending quality time with them. Look at having a relationship with God. A relationship with God and having a strong bond with God doesn't just come overnight. It takes days of building, I know that I have a relationship with God. And my relationship with God has not been just an overnight thing, I've had years. Even when I was on the streets and ran away, I had stopped believing in God, but there were moments where, because I had the foundation, that, I would see God and I'd be on the street and all of a sudden God would the wind would blow and it'd push me off the street, and the next thing you know, there's like a drive-by on the same street. You know, like I've seen God work in my life even before, you know, I decided to fully surrender to God, before I decided, you know, this is what I wanted for my life, you know. And so, yeah, so you take the time, you know, if you're willing to wait for love, you take the time to actually get to know the person, or get to know God, or whoever it is that, you know, you say you love, you know. And so we'll kind of see here, we're in Songs of Solomon. If you guys want to turn to Songs of Solomon, chapter 4. How beautiful you are, my darling. Oh, how beautiful. Your eyes behind your veil are doves. Your hair is like a flock of goats descending from Mount Gilead. Your teeth are like flock of sheep just shorn, coming up from the washing. Each has its twin. Each has its twin. Not one of them is alone. Your lips are like scarlet ribbon. Your mouth is lovely. Your temples behind your veil are like the halves of pomegranates. Your neck is like the Tower of David, built with elegance. On it hang 1,000 shields, all of them shields of warriors. Your two breasts are like two fawns, like twin fawns of a gazelle that browse among the lilies, until the day breaks and the shadows flee. I will go to the mountain of myrrh and to the hills of incense. All beautiful you are, my darling. There is no flaw in you. Come with me from Lebanon, my bride. Come with me from Lebanon. Descend from the crest of Amna, from the top of Senir, and the summit of Hermon, from the lion's den, and the mountain haunts of the leopards. Okay, you have stolen my heart, my sister, my bride. You have stolen my heart with one glance of your eyes, with one jewel of your necklace. How delightful is your love, my sister, my bride. So what we're seeing here is that he knows her. Okay. And I know this is a lot like physical kind of no. And, you know, he's entrapped in her beauty. But, you know, not being patient and getting to know someone with love is not just about their outer, you know, it is as well inner. And knowing their habits, their hobbies, you know, stuff like that. But as you see here, he explains certain things about her, you know, like your hair is like flocks of goats, and your teeth are like a flock of sheep, and he talks about the things about her. You know, he knows her, he studied her, he took the time, you know. And when we really want something, if we're going to really have something of value, we take the time to study it, to get to know it, so that we can learn to appreciate it. I know, you know, like, okay, for instance, me, I have a routine, you know. On Thursdays, I cook dinner for my 4-day weekend at work. You know, someone who would know me knows, oh, what are you doing on Thursday? Oh, you're cooking for the weekend because you have work this weekend. I was talking to one of my friends the other day, and I was coming home from work, and me and this friend, you know, we usually talk right after I get out at 12 until I get home, you know, and I get home and I drive safely. But they know, you know, the other day we were talking, and they were like, oh, are you stopping by Krispy Kreme? And I was like, yeah, how'd you know? You know, oh, because you do it every weekend, and after work, that's what I do. I get off work and I stop by Krispy Kreme and I get one blueberry cake donut. That's taking the time to know, it's something so small, but they know, that's love. Are you willing to take the time to get to know someone, like what they're like on their bad days, what they're like on their good days, what makes them smile, what makes them laugh, certain things that they do, what the, when you are patient for love, you'll take the time to know it. You'll take the time to understand it. You'll take the time, you won't rush into it, because when it's real love, it's not really going anywhere. Jacob wasn't going anywhere. Jacob really loved Rachel. He really cared for her. He really wanted to spend, his life with her. And because of this, he was taking his time. Because of this, those years didn't matter. It's 7 years. Okay, that's fine. 7 years is 7 years. I'm going to get to spend the rest of my life with her. I know that this is the person that I want to be with. I know this is the person that I want to build with. And so 7 years was nothing, And so if you're going to love somebody and you really love someone, why rush it? Why, take the time to get to know them. Take the time to enjoy them. Take the time to be there. It's love. That's what it is, because love, real love, is not going anywhere. And so if you really love, like you say you love, why not, why not be patient to love? Why not take your time to get to know someone? Why not take your time to build? It's like building a house. It doesn't build overnight. A relationship doesn't build overnight. It's not going anywhere. But, those small moments that you guys have together is what builds the bond and connection and makes it even tighter than it was before. So it's all the more reason to just be patient when it comes to love, because if it's real love, it's really not going anywhere. Just enjoy those moments of getting to know and building a bond with that special person, or even with when it comes to God. God's not going anywhere. Why not take the time to build your relationship with God and build that bond and be patient with Him, and Him be patient with you, in that loving, caring relationship that you guys both have. So I'm going to put up the next few questions, and then we're going to carry on, you guys. All right. Peace. Have you rushed into finding love? Are you willing to take your time to build and get to know that person so that you can have the love that you want? All right, everybody. So welcome back. I know it's like a whole nother day. Look, my cabinet's open. It's a whole nother day, but I wanted to finish this lesson about waiting for the love that you really want. So there's nothing that really compares to receiving the love that you really want. Eventually, Jacob received Rachel, and she became his wife. And so, we're going to kind of look in another situation and scenario with Genesis 24. And it was like a day that that basically, like, okay, so we're going to kind of look at situations like this. We'll be in Genesis 24. So the serpent was looking for a bride for Isaac. And so he prayed for a bride, and he received, this was the day that he realized that the Lord had prospered his way, and that was the day that he found a bride for Isaac. And there's nothing like receiving what it is that you've been waiting for, when it's the right person, when it's the right one. The Bible says a man who finds a wife finds a beautiful thing, and obtain favor from the Lord. It's nothing like waiting for the love that you really want and being able to receive it and have it. So kind of look at that. And it says right here in verse 12 in Genesis 24, Then he prayed, O Lord God of my master Abraham, give me success today and show me kindness to my master Abraham, seeing I am standing beside a spring and the daughters of the town people are coming to draw water. May it be that when I say to you, please let down your jar that I may have a drink, and she says, drink, hold on. Please let down your jar that I may have a drink. And she says, drink, and I'll water your camels too. And she says, drink, and I'll water your camels too. Let her be the one that have chosen for your servant Isaac. So he was looking for the one. And by this I will know that you have shown me kindness to my master. In verse 15, before he had finished praying, Rebekah came out with her jar on her shoulder, and she was the daughter of Bethuel, son of Milcah, who was the wife of Abraham's brother Nahor. And the girl was very beautiful, a virgin, no man had ever known her. And she went down to the spring and filled up the jar and came up again. And the servant hurried to meet her and said, please give me a little water from the jar. Drink, my lord, she said, and quickly lowered her jar to her hand and gave him a drink. And after she had given him a drink, I'll draw water for your camels too. So she was everything that he had been waiting for. Everything in which it was so Isaac could have a bride. And there's nothing like waiting for what it is that you're looking for and you receive it. Nothing like it. And after she had given him a drink, she said, I'll draw water for you, your camels too, until they have finished drinking. So she quickly emptied her jar into the trough, ran back to the well to draw more water, and drew enough for all his camels, without saying a word. And the man watched her closely, and to learn whether or not the Lord had made his journey successful. And when the camels had finished drinking, and the man took out his gold nose ring weighing a beka and 2 gold bracelets weighing 10 shekels. And then he said, whose daughter are you? Please tell me, is this room in your father's house for us to spend the night? So basically, that moment was the moment where the serpent was getting the love that he wanted, but it was Isaac. It was the moment that Isaac would get the love in which it was that God had for him, that he always that he wanted, that he longed for. God knew that this was the woman for him, that she would, the Bible says that, the Proverbs 31 will do him good all the days of her life, not evil. And so, this was the woman who would be a perfect match for him. There's nothing like receiving someone who, getting a love, that someone who's going to love you, who's going to care about you, who's going to care about your needs, who's going to care about your household, make sure your kids are fed, make sure, make sure the house is ran properly, make sure, that they love you and they care about you and they're treating you kindly and they want the best intentions for your life and what's going on in your life, and, they genuinely care about you and how they affect your life. And, there's nothing like receiving that, and that was the day where, the servant found the woman, and then finally, it carries on. It talks about how Rebekah ended up going back with him, and finally it talks about at the end about the day, like the day where he finally received, Isaac received his bride. And let's see right here. So, verse 62 of Genesis 24. Now Isaac had came home from Beer-lahai, for he was living in the Negev. And he went out to the field one evening to meditate, and as he looked up, he saw camels approaching. Rebekah also looked up and saw Isaac. And she got down from her camel, and she asked the servant, who is that man in the field coming to meet us? And he said, "My master." The servant answered. So she took down her veil and she covered her face. And the servant told Isaac all he had done. And Isaac brought her into the tent and his mother Sarah, and he married Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he loved her. And Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. There's nothing like receiving the love that you really want. So I don't know how patient you have to be to receive the love that you really want, but I just encourage you to wait for it. God has someone out there for you, and you never know. Today might be the day. Tomorrow might be the day. You might be, friends with the person right now, and then God sooner or later will reveal to you that that's who you're supposed to be with. I don't know. But I just encourage you to be patient and wait on the love that you really want. All right, guys, until we meet again. Peace. If today was the day you received the love you really wanted, how would you react?